Hey everyone, Scott J. from Crucible Custom Props, Nerfworks Lab, RPF, and all the other forums. This is a vintage Graflex reveal that I just finished up for Alex. He wanted a machined crystal chamber, so that's what I did. Everything inside is machined. This one, I don't know if anybody else has done it, but it's the first one that I know of using the Solos Hold Graflex blade holder that him and Obi Shane and Darth Rio worked so hard on creating. I had a little bit of input, but not much. Most of those guys did all the heavy lifting on that project. And the blade holders is accurate. It looks, I mean, it's the one blade holder that has convinced me that I think I'll finally make myself an FX Graflex. That's the one thing that always bugged me, was all the blade holders had a 1-inch blade and had to use short pins and just looked funky. I never liked that at all. I always thought 1-inch blade was too thick for the Graflex because it stretches out the bunny ears and just doesn't look right. But here it is. So let me go over this a little bit. This is solid, so it can be displayed open like this. Let me just get it out here. So the entire, you won't be able to see it, but everything from here up is machined to and attached to the blade holder as well. Trying to get a close-up of this chamber. I wanted it for a weathered look. It's not overly weathered, but it's a really cool, really nice crystal. So the chamber that I did a steel base and I fire blued it. It's kind of hard to see that detail here in this light, but it is fire blued. It's not cold blued, it was heat blued. So I wanted that heat look to transfer over. Like the core itself, the crystal got hot and you know, did some changes to the metal. There is a kind of like a ray blaster barrel. There's a blue when the steel heats up or titanium heats up and changes that color to blue and purple and kind of goldy orange. That effect is here around the chamber as well. And I have this really cool micro hex mesh in there, just kind of to add a little bit of texture to it and depth. So this is the machine piece. Here is the SD card access right here. You might be able to do this with your fingers. Yep. And that probably wasn't a good idea while it was on. But anyway, you could do that or use tweezers. 1.3 millimeter recharge port. Your kill keys right here. You just pull this puppy out. Your activation is here. Your auxiliary. You just button it up. It has a plastic sleeve inside the tube here to do two things. It will keep from scratching up the core, even though it's still going to scratch. The aluminum is so soft, no matter what you do, it's going to mar and scratch. There's not much you can do about that. But it's going to keep the big scratches to a minimum. I did that with that closed. But it keeps it nice and tight. So there's no visible sound holes at all. The sound is radiating through that chamber. The chamber is actually part of the resonance chamber for the speaker. Graflexes have never been loud sabers, because even if you vent down here, they're just never going to be that loud. But this one is about as loud as any of them that I've ever done, even with vented sound holes. So I'm pretty happy with the turnout of that. Let me show you a little bit about this blade holder here. You got a really deep socket. So it goes down there. If you had a glass eye, you would have a shine through glass eye right there, right? So if it's in a New Hope, you would have really nice shine through, not just kind of pinhole. The whole thing, the whole glass eye would light up. You have the original pins, sync pins here, at the proper depth, so they are exactly like a vintage. You have the machined lip here. I mean, I'm really stoked about this blade holder. 7/8 blade means that when you put the blade in, it doesn't stretch the shit out of your, pardon my French, out of your bunny ears there, right? The other thing I did is, I know this is kind of funky, but this is the very first Graflex I've done out of all of them that I've reused the original rivet here. This is the original rivet, and it's not floppy, it's tight. So all the others have been a screw of some sort before, but I was lucky enough to get the rivet out very cleanly and get it back in very cleanly. So it's really cool. And oh, got a vintage Cobalt D-ring. Now the vintage Cobalt clips are brass, plated brass. That's exactly what this one is. I don't remember where I got this. I got this from the RPF some many years ago, and Alex wanted a real one, and I had a real one left over. I mean, I still have one more for myself, but this is the one that, and it's even purposely offset, like the screen used Wampa Saber. The scene in the Wampa Cave where it's in the snow, it's purposely offset just like the real one. And this is this D-ring came on this, so I don't know where that sourced from, but these are Roy's Wonawonga's rivets, which are very accurate, Wonawonga's screw heads, which are very accurate, and the T-track, which is, and his clamp card. So it is a really, and this is the saber that has convinced me to make my own. Instead of having a static Graflex, I'm going to have one that's FX, finally. Oops. Always forget you have to hold it down just a little bit. Got a white flash on clash, and that CF8 is super sensitive. So when you're going to take out the view the crystal, you pull that out because it's going to fall out. Wiggle this out, and you can just have it like this. Close that back up. Display it like that if you like. You could even play with it like that if you want to. But just pull it straight out. Put your kill key back in it, and you're good to go. Remember, ESB, the Graflex control box goes to the right. Boom. There you guys go. Pretty stoked about it, Alex. I hope you like it. There you go. Thanks, guys.